Hello, this is Gerald Johan van Waas. Simply because I have some Dutch words, I will have to make two videos, one in Dutch and one in English. And these are also interesting for the English persons because it's a very good demonstration how simple it can be to understand words and their letters. Their letters are not randomly, they are really chosen in a way that we find these balances between these letters very quickly, in just the way how quickly we recognize them, how they are balanced out between other letters, between other sounds. Some of them we quickly find them into one spot, other ones we need a little bit more time for it. And in that way, there is an automated system involved, how we choose them, how we balance them out, and so on, which is a bit like a yin and yang system in which we find our balance, our correct balance that fits also to these words. Okay, now it sounds a bit weird when I say that, but there are some videos that explain that quite well. But let's go to some of these letters, how they are balancing themselves out. This system also balancing themselves out is a system on its own. It is like taking the most simple things and make a distinction with them, and actually they correspond to a letter that we use also for this kind of focus. And I'll give you an example with U or U, which gives you an idea how this builds up from the most simple elements actually. So from the beginning onwards, actually, the ATK is also a geometrical system. It is also a numerical system. And this balance is really going towards all directions. And it's also a positive, negative system with three balances, not just with yeses and nos, but also the going towards that and going away from that. And that's like this kind of balance. We have, I don't know if we really have that balancing out organ in the things that we hear and then store them in our brain. I'm not really sure how that works, but it does work. And I have figured out this system, and it's just like you have this balance of 1, 2, 3, as you can see here, and they fit with the letters in its complexity and all of its calculations, actually, what has been done, what you can do with it. And it's like when you start to have the balancing out system, you start to win something. Once it's in balance, you have it, you're sure, okay, I have it, it's clear, and it has something of neutrality. And then with this balancing out again, you lose it again. So that's that kind of balance which goes automatically in all things we do, with movements, but also with how we associate things, how we remember them, and how we sense them actually very quickly when we go to somewhere or when we lose it somewhere. They are quite basic elements, and they're also about this balancing out organ that we use at the same time in the letters as well. Even if we haven't registered it yet where and how it goes, it works when as a system in the way how we can understand why letters have certain features. And I give an example with this ATK. That ATK is already about, yes, A is about, yes, I'm going to win knowledge. I'm going to win the fact. I'm going to see what I have there, and I'm going to define my thing. A lot of associations come forth through it. Just look at the other videos where you have the ATK explained. And with T, it's that balanced out, and with K, you lose it. So you gain it, or you lose it, or it's balanced out. T is that balanced out all into number 1. So this is the first choice, 1, 2, 3. I go towards it, I have it, I lose it. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, just in one focus. So what's now, okay, into the positive and negative. So the A goes towards positive, because that's what is automated, driven towards that, yes, I have it, the positive thing. T is then neutralized between plus and minus, it's neutral. That's maybe a better way to put it. And then the K goes towards not the positive, but it goes towards the negative. And that's that first balance. That's the first balance of yin and yang with letters. You, the next level, is taking actually not just one viewpoint to one point, it's getting two angles to one point, and it takes them at the same time. So it has this dual thing, so it goes from the number 1 to the number 2 into just one focus. I'm still focusing upon one focus, and I'm using both of my eyes as a matter of speaking, and I see this balancing out. So I see this winning it, and I see this losing it, both at the same time. But because I realize that there is this balancing out, I also have, I'm not longer in this neutrality thing, because I'm also realize, okay, the moment I win it, at another time I will also lose it. So what will be the outcome? And that will be more focusing upon the outcome, what it will do. And that's exactly what you is about. It's imbalanced because it knows the imbalanced state at one or two of the one of two options, and it's going to look for that. I see it already from both sides, and it's going to look for that. Yeah, what can I do? Actually, it doesn't know that at that point, what to do or where will be the outcome. But you, on its own, it's like you try to have a balance, but it's undecided. Which side will it be, the yes or the no? In a way, it's also neutral, just like the T. But it's more a neutrality that it wants to get out of balance, but to which direction? I'm ready for a potential in the first sound of U. And the first sound of U is the small sound. If I go to the next level, instead of I have U. The next level is that, alright, I'm going to form something. And then you have U as well, which is even concluding into how this takes the shape and finds actually its way how to form itself. So there is all the levels also what you can learn through the theory, but that's of course for some other time. So, but let's face it, that U or U is that undecidedness. So let's go to the first word. It will be combined U in a double U then with the letter R. R from the last category is about if the things in the background that are into a continuation all the time. It's there all the time. It also is able to continue itself. It has a rhythm of its own, and that's that kind of rhythm which you can only find when you have the right definition where it will fit to. So that I say, okay, what is the kind of movement that I see, the kind of performance that I see that fits to that continuation or repetition. That's what you're trying to find out with R. It connects to it to see the correct range where it will start actually the whole process, and it also where it will finish, or where it can when it's enough that you have the full picture actually, so that you have the definition in the end. That's the concept of these last few letters. And in basics, in theory, actually also it is related with time and space at the same time. Uur means hour. Basically, we would say uur is only about time, but as I put it here into my theory, and then I see how it is connected. I need to have time and placement before it can define its definition correctly. And that will be seen also in my conclusion at the end. So 2 times U, and then the into that I will have to connect to uur, to the R. So I have to connect it to this continuation U, so with the no's and yeses at the same time, where thanks to R I have to connect to the moment where I say, okay, here I can start, and also until here I leave it. From here to here is the timing of the performance, but it's not your performance in time. It also has to fit to a certain place. If you think about it, an hour, if you look at the clock, on the clock the hours are always at the same place. But if we have an activity and we say, okay, let's do that for an hour, we have a starting place, and that's what you also need. You have a starting place, the correct starting place in space, as you have that measurement, we have a place for it at a certain point. This is the right place for it to start and to count an hour. So we have the place and time for it, and that describes actually very well what uur or hour is. Let's have a little game, a little extra, an illustration which I think is quite funny to make also. The hour, we know of course that it has a certain, we measure hour in a certain way also. It's not just an hour is a random time. No, it's a specific rhythm actually. So within this continuous rhythm, which will have to repeat itself, I need to have that kind of time schedule. Let's say that I try to make this time schedule based upon what we have in U is a dual thing, and then also the balance which we have in all the letters, a balance of 3. So let's find out a balance of 3 with this dualism. 3 with dualism, so like this, but with a continuity. So I put it in the circles so that I have this continuity. So I have 3, 3, 3, 3. So that should be 12 in total. That's the 12, so that I can use. But now this dualism, how is this dualism, how is this rhythm of dualism? On its own, the dualism on its own is like when I put in balance, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes. So I have here not enough to have a time schedule, but I also have to have the balance of 3. So let's add the balance of 3, have it quite a little bit nicely from the middle, and where I can see what I have. And I have a quite nice actually leaves that have this rhythm, in which I can also recognize that 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and the 2, 2, 2, 2. And I have the clock actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12, and it fits to, yes, the number 12. It's just a game, but it's quite funny that it fits. Put or the pit actually is a Dutch word which also uses the U. So also with that choice of what it will be, yes or no. Mostly because on that second level, the no will prevail. It's not there now, but it might appear at some point, it might be found at some point. The number 2 is not there yet. I have to find it at a certain point. That's what it always tells us because of its position, also in the yin and yang balance of these letters. So let's first have this letter by letter, how it balances itself out. The P. Where is the P actually? Just take it out of the system here. It's about timings or movements. And the movements, they go, yeah, they are there on the top, and it moves outside the system, outside its balanced out system, and it almost pops out, as you can see. There is the position of P. This will have to be combined with U. And I will tell you one more thing. The U is then on the same place where the P starts. How does it come? I can also put it out as a next letter, but it's actually the P is like every consonant is the kind of physical force that you will have that is expressed in the letters. While the vocals are always that kind of orientation. What kind of orientation do I have with that physical orientation? And in this case, the U is about no and yes. And no is the certain thing, and the yes actually is the most uncertain thing. So it's uncertain, yes, that I pop out, or that, if you think about what the pit is, that I can get out. So it's uncertain that, yeah, in that place there I can get out, even I have the direction that I want to get something out. And that's the tendency of the word as well. The P is something that wants to pop out. And the T at the end, in the order as well, it will go up in the spatial thing, follows of course the P letter, and I'm almost standing beyond my measurements of my basic orientation in space and time. What I have in space actually, then in that pressed in focus of what I have, that I want to go beyond my space by a movement in time with the P then is lands actually outside the object that the pit actually is, and I land in space where I see, okay, I'm standing there. I could even put a figure there. I could stand outside the pit and I want to take something out. Or when I would be in the pit, I want to get out, because that's also a way how we use this word figuratively. That was it for this time. I hope you enjoyed this one, and I hope to make this one in Dutch as well. Thanks again for watching. Bye.